not saying he couldn't. I was fighting for the John McClane camo cause.
Hello, Internet. Welcome back to Cinema Brawls. I am Daniel.
I am Matt.
And I am Jake.
And today we are going to put two movies head to head and see which one comes out on top. As picked last time, we have Die Hard versus the 2019 Jungle Book.
2016. It did not come out this year.
It didn't come out this year?
No, it did not.
I mixed up Jungle Book and Lion King. That's where I was. That was.
Well, they both do have animals in them.
Both directed by Jon Favreau.
But both have very important Bill Murray parts.
Let me tell you a little bit about the 2016 live-action Jungle Book. Came out in 2016, directed by Jon Favreau, and stars Neil Sethi as Mowgli, and the animals are voiced by a bunch of famous people, like Bill Murray, Ben Kingsley, Idris Elba, Scarlett Johansson. It's great. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about Die Hard?
Die Hard is a 1988 movie. Directed by John McTiernan and stars Bruce Willis, Alan Rickman.
Let's just stick with Bruce Willis and Alan Rickman.
Those are the only two people that actually matter in the movie anyway. Great. On your mark, get set,
Brawl.
I'll go ahead and start with with my first impressions. Die Hard is great. It is. However, you know how you talk to some guys and they're like, oh my gosh, Die Hard. It's like the end-all, be-all action movie for them.
Right.
I don't get that. I don't believe the hype. That's not why I wore this shirt, but I love it even more. Yeah. Anyway.
Did you wear this shirt just for that joke?
I wore it for the color, not the words.
Fun fact, 21 Pilots actually wrote that song specifically about Die Hard.
Don't believe it, guys. It's a trick. No. But really, though, I don't understand the hype. I mean, I do think it's a good movie, great action movie, probably fantastic for the time. Compared to Jungle Book, Jungle Book, the live-action one, in my opinion, is the best of the Disney live-action remakes. Take that how you will. I think it's a good story that needed updating, and I feel like they updated it very well. So I think for argument's sake, I'll be voting for Jungle Book.
In my opinion, I think that they're both equally okay movies. Die Hard is a good action movie, but it's kind of old. And, you know, I do agree with Matt, a little overhyped, although it's got Hans Gruber, who is arguably an amazing villain.
We did argue that.
We argued
it hard.
In favor of that. And then you've got live action Jungle Book, which, while Jungle Book may be, in your opinion, the best live action Disney remake, that doesn't make it that great of a Disney movie.
That's why I said take it how you will.
Right. Either way, I'm on the fence. I could go either way.
I hate Jungle Book. I even hate the cartoon. It's a bad movie.
It's because Daniel's scared of the monkeys.
We weren't going to talk about those in this video.
A surprise. This is an intervention. Get over your monkey thing. It's weird.
No. But Die Hard's cool, and I liked Die Hard. Die Hard, it might be a generational thing. You know, we grew up in a post-Die Hard world, but it was good. I'd rather watch John Wick, but Die Hard is good. And I'll vote for Die Hard.
Die Hard has more story than John Wick ever did. And here's why. Story.
That's a good transition.
Thank you.
That, dear children, is called a segue.
So, as far as story goes, let's take a look at this. You got an action movie, and you got a fantasy. Should we call it a fantasy?
It's kind of like the story.
Or is this going to be in the more niche subgenre of talking animal movies, along with Beethoven and...
Oh no, it's nowhere on the same level as Beethoven or those Air Bud movies. And I know that's what you were going to say, and that is a blasphemous comparison.
This is a very Pete's Dragon type movie.
Pete's Dragon. Yeah, that's a good one. I did some research and I found out that the book, The Jungle Book, by Rudyard Kipling, that this is based off of, was written in 1892. That's 127 years old, folks.
That's a long time. Die Hard was written in 1890, though, so it's got to be by 2 years.
1980.
1980.
So, like,
Right.
I agree with you. Die Hard is a good story. And, like, Jungle Book was probably a good story for the late 1800s. Like, what if a boy was raised in the jungle?
By talking animals. And
That's what they found interesting.
they both have intriguing stories, which I think for at the time, both of them were kind of originals.
Oh, yeah.
Which in today's day and age, the freak is an original movie.
But I think in today's views, even though they were good original stories for those times, like a generational thing, like Daniel said, aged to today, I think Die Hard is the better story. And even though I really want Jungle Book to win here, I will be fair to Die Hard. I think it's the better story.
Yeah.
I like how, when I watch movies, I kind of like the reasons these characters get into these situations. Like, I like the flow of events, and I think Die Hard was good. It's like, oh, well, why is he in the tower in the first place? Because he decided to surprise his ex-wife instead of go to her house, True.
Now, for an action movie, Die Hard has a lot of story, which is good. However, think about this. Jungle Book has a little bit more story than we're letting on, especially if we're talking about the live-action remake.
They did expand it a little bit.
Yeah, they did expand it, and honestly, me seeing that when it came out was the first time I had actually seen Jungle Book and heard the story, and I actually really liked it. Yeah. That was an interesting story. At first, I thought it was just, a boy raised by animals, but honestly...
Which at first it was.
Right. But honestly, the story in this one was a lot more than that, and I found it at the very least entertaining and well thought out.
I agree.
I did like how they expanded the story, at least past the cartoon version, because again, I really didn't like the cartoon version. But it's still not as good as Die Hard, in my opinion. I feel like Die Hard has, and we'll get into this later, but like better written characters. It's a very well-structured movie, and just from a screenplay.
I look like fun.
Just from a screenplay perspective, Die Hard is like, it's, for lack of a better term, in this context, it's like a perfect screenplay, and it has been studied in film schools as like how to structure action movies and just movies in general that 3-act screenplay.
No, I think by far Die Hard takes the story. And again, while I like the expansions in the remake Jungle Book, I think that plays more into character development. The characters have more reasons to do what they do. The story is still the same. Boy grows up in jungle, tiger comes, boy and tiger fight, boy goes and lives off where he's meant to.
What are we voting for?
I'm voting Die Hard for the story.
I as well.
I'm voting Jungle Book. But it doesn't matter.
It doesn't. Onward to characters. I'll start with characters. So you got your John McClane, who has persisted even through, give or take, 2 or 3, depending on how you count 3, awful sequels. They're fun, good characters. They're fun, well-rounded characters, especially for the 80s. John McClane is not your average action hero. He wasn't Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sylvester Stallone.
That is true.
Which makes him different in a lot of ways from 80s action movies.
Here's my problem with the characters in Die Hard. You're right. John McClane, great action hero. Came out of nowhere, not like the others, well-rounded, well-written. Hans Gruber, great villain, great motives, well-written, well-rounded. What about literally everyone else in the movie? Most of them don't even get names because they're just there.
Well, Holly, who's his wife,
but
she's a strong, independent woman that don't need no man.
See, but my point is, while John McClane and Hans Gruber are great characters, I feel like they're the only ones that are great. And I don't know if that really measures up to every character in the Jungle Book having, like I said, it's expanded. They have better motives, they're better written, they have better development. I like that thing that they threw in that Mowgli keeps trying to build these tools and contraptions because that's his nature. But then all the animals are like, no, we don't do that here. Because they're scared of man. And I liked that there was this drought, and that's why Shere Khan had to come back. And it was written better
it's a more
in favor of the characters.
More expansive universe. They have a lot of different types of characters and a kind of community.
They have good personalities.
Right. Which allows all the characters to work well off of each other. And you've got Baloo. Come on, son.
Played by Bill Murray.
Bill Murray specifically.
I'll give you Bill Murray.
The kid was Mowgli was kind of bland.
Kind of
iffy. It's a child.
I did like Shere Khan's motivations and how he was actually kind of right.
Yeah.
And that was cool.
He's intimidating too.
Versus in the cartoon when he was just this bad guy for the sake of being a bad guy.
All right, what are we voting for on characters then?
Jungle Book.
Also,
I'm gonna vote for Die Hard because Die Hard.
So rewatchability, it's it could go either way for me. I feel like they're both equally rewatchable for different reasons.
Neither of them are too terribly rewatchable. But neither of them are unwatchable.
Yeah. I mean, maybe
solid fives.
Yeah, maybe Jungle Book just because it's shorter and more
is
colorful.
Jungle Book shorter? How long is Jungle Book? Because it felt like 3.5 hours long. I think Die Hard is a more rewatchable movie again because it's persisted. It seems like every couple of years, including twice in 2016, we got Jungle Book remakes. And
twice in 2016.
Yeah, Andy Serkis put out a Netflix one that was basically the exact same, except leaning more towards the book.
Isn't that the Mowgli one on Netflix?
Yeah.
I thought that came out the year later.
I thought it came out the year. No, you're right. It did come out the year later. My bad. I'm sorry. We've had a lot. There have been so many remakes of Jungle Book versus no one's ever been able to do Die Hard again. And I feel like Die Hard is just...
I would argue that the sequels would make up for the bad Jungle Book remakes because the Die Hard sequels are also bad.
Well, 2 and 3 are great.
And besides, I feel like that plays more into merits in genre.
For sure, but it's just I don't like the Jungle Book movies. I would much rather watch Die Hard, even the bad sequels, than Jungle Book. And I feel like...
Yeah, I mean...
I don't understand why you guys didn't like What didn't you guys like about Die Hard?
No, it's not...
Die Hard. I just like Jungle Book too. And I have reasons for liking both, whereas you have reasons for not liking one of them not at all. Shut up.
See, it's like I was saying at the beginning, I don't mind Die Hard. I really do like it. I don't think it's the end-all, be-all of action movies.
Well, yeah, of course, it's not the Princess Bride, but
it's no John Wick or The Raid or Princess Bride. I mean,
Jungle Book is better than Princess Bride. I'm kidding.
Nobody insults the Princess Bride.
See, and I really did plan it out. I wrote down each category, I wrote down my reasonings, made a decision, because I do like Die Hard. And you know what, I'll even give Die Hard rewatchability because Jungle Book's a one and done, great, got the story. But even then, I feel like it wins in other categories, specific categories.
I don't know. I feel like Jungle Book's a little bit more rewatchable. It's more fun. It's lighter-hearted. And honestly, action movies are good, but they're not my go-to for rewatchability. Unless there's a lot of comedy in it.
They're absolutely my go-to. And John McClane is hilarious at some parts.
He can be, yeah.
my point is, I think Jungle Book was a more fun movie, and I'd rather watch that. The lighthearted family comedy that just lets me kind of relax a little bit. And did a good job of doing that.
Agree. But you know what? I'll still give you Die Hard for rewatchability. Because again, Jungle Book can be a one and done thing. I don't think that means it'll win, but I'll give this to you.
All right. Thank you. Merits in genre.
As you were saying before, Jungle Book has been remade a good handful of times.
It's not the most remade movie, because that's still tied between A Star is Born and Ben-Hur.
Let me ask you too this question. What do you think of when you think of Disney movie?
Think of Disney in, like...
If I say Disney movie, where does your mind go to?
I mean, at the moment, it's going to the animated Jungle Book because that's what we're talking
Obviously,
about.
but in like real life situations, Jungle Book is like down here on the list of Disney movies.
Oh, absolutely.
Whereas if you say action movie, Die Hard's right near the top.
Oh yeah,
For
absolutely.
sure.
Well, see, that's what I was saying. Like, I think this version of the Jungle Book is the best version of Jungle Book we've had so far, and is the best of the live-action Disney remakes so far. And so, yeah, if we're talking about the classic ones, it's like, oh yeah, it's down here. But if we're going specifically this version, I think it helps. And Die Hard had, X number of sequels that just went on a steady decline.
We're going to go with 5.
Sure.
Well, it's a good thing we're only talking about Die Hard.
I don't know.
The movie that can spawn 4 sequels. It's pretty good.
Absolutely.
I think Die Hard did way more for its genre. It's an action movie. You said earlier that people study it to learn how to make action movies.
Oh, yeah.
If that's not a winner for merits in genre, I don't know what is.
Yeah, no, totally. And
For all intents and purposes, I'm voting for Die Hard on this one.
me as well.
I still want to say Jungle Book.
Well, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Emotional impact.
You know what? I think I'm going to give this one to Die Hard.
You've given it a lot of
That
thought.
must have been hard for you.
Yeah,
Way to
believe
be
me.
brave.
Believe me. Oh, man.
I still think it would go to Jungle Book. I think it has more emotions throughout, whether it's the lighthearted kind of humor of Baloo. Shere Khan was intimidating. He had better motivations than at least past versions of Jungle Book has. Mowgli saying goodbye at the end was very potent.
It's got a much broader spectrum of emotions.
Yeah.
Whereas,
That final battle with Shere Khan with the
Yeah.
fire everywhere over that cliff.
I mean,
It looked cool, for
you've
sure.
got family ties, you've got, enemies against enemies, you've got like intensity all throughout, good, strong friendship bonds. It's all over the place and does really well with every kind of emotion and relationship.
I
Die
was just
Hard.
thinking of Die Hard when you said all that, but, that's just...
I actually was too.
You got family ties, you've got emotional intensity, you got enemies against enemies, and you've got, a good friend dynamic.
He's not wrong.
Sure, but that's all packed into like kind of an action type intensity, which kind of subdues the rest of those emotions.
I mean, it's like a very claustrophobic movie at parts, and like especially
It's
if you're
supposed to be.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and especially if you just follow John McClane. So a lot of my arguments for Die Hard can be expanded on if you watch Movie Bob's video, Really That Good, about Die Hard, which you should, and it's great. Also, Die Hard is great, but with Die Hard, like, I don't know, there are a lot of different emotions. Like the part where he's walking across a glass on bare feet it hurts me. It hurts me. And then when he's jumping off the building while it's exploding, like, all cool things.
Sure,
Like,
it's a great action movie.
it's a great action movie, and I felt like with Jungle Book, it had a good mix of emotions, but it didn't do one thing really well. It was all mediocre. It was
No.
all fine.
I disagree. I think it did everything very well. Whereas Die Hard only stuck to action, which made everything else very subdued under that.
Well, I mean, we come to this kind of argument every time we talk about emotional impact. Is the movie with the broader spectrum of emotions that only hit like up to here better, or is the movie that has the one emotion that just does it exceptionally well? Which one's better, you know? We come to that almost every time, I've noticed. That's how it was with Willy Wonka and Planet of the Apes. That's how it was with Shining and Dr. Horrible's. Like,
in this case, I think the way Jungle Book handled balancing all the emotions gives them the win. I'm voting for Jungle Book.
I'm still voting Die Hard.
I think I'll vote Die Hard as well.
Handed the Die Hard the win.
I know I did.
So you did not like Jungle Book.
I do like Jungle. I don't know. It was a coin toss in my head, really.
It's just not Die Hard.
He doesn't like Jungle Book.
I don't like Jungle Book.
Not you,
I like Jungle Book. I really do.
All right, well, Die Hard's our winner.
Die Hard's our winner. That's probably for the best anyway.
Yeah, Die Hard.
When did we start clapping?
We've always clapped with the winner.
Oh, okay.
How?
Good job, Die Hard. Can we put a clip of Brooklyn Nine-Nine here real quick?
Here's the situation. 12 terrorists, 1 cop. Just the way he likes it.
Who's he? Me. Why are you calling yourself he?
Because that's the tagline from the Die Hard poster.
All right, Daniel, pick a freaking good movie. I want a good discussion.
Oh, yeah. Good discussion.
What?
What was it?
No, you gotta pick yours.
No, I want to know what you got first.
No.
Say it.
Kung Fu Panda.
Well, I love that movie.
Freaking love that movie.
All right, come
It'll
on.
either be a devastating brawl or a very meticulous brawl. It all weighs on what you pick out of the bowl right now.
I know. Inception.
Okay, I'm here for this.
This will be a good one.
This will be fun.
This will be a good one.
This will be
Cool.
fun.
Catch us next time when we deliberate between Kung Fu Panda
And Inception.
Blah.
Bye.
I could sum up Inception in one word. It would be blah.